Market vitals, the levels you need to triage the market. HFR on the road. Mistrade, Matt Davey with a don't. It's a Wednesday, hump day.
And the don't called a nice little counter trend trade that got you 250 points. So you're welcome.
You did. Let's call that spade a spade.
Now it has almost fully reversed, but I said 500 level. Boom.
Long. That's what we do. That's what
let's start with that real quick before we hop off. Let's just take a look at the NASDAQ, the NASDASty. The nasty after the big fall Friday fell a little bit more on Tuesday yesterday, right? We had made another new low. Today, inside day. What does that mean, Bob?
It means get out your blocks and your crayons because you're got an inside day.
Exactly. So we're in a 400-point bracket now is the way I see it. 650 on the top and 250 on the bottom. That's 400 points. You break that, get you next 400, which is 11.8 or 13,550.
Let's us revisit that again. Say that again, because I love profile trading for that exact reason. Like things tend to replicate range wise. So
markets do. I think there's something. I think markets, whatever the risk value is, and it is set by the market, right? It's not me setting it. It's the market saying, okay, we're in this 450 point range, 400 point range. So when we close out above or below those ranges that we just are showing here, we continue to usually mirror and duplicate that, whatever that range is. So 450 points, 400 points on this chart points to 11.8 or 11,850, somewhere in there, or it points to 13,050 basically, right? So 11.8 is down here, which is, kind of on you're breaking through value on the 89-minute chart. And up here, it's, again, somewhere up around 1350, which is a big area of distribution up here, right around 12.9. So it kind of makes sense. And you can see in this, it's just, we're in the thickness waiting, we're battling. The battle is on, as you like to say, the battle, the contention about prices is here. This high ran back to 61.8. We had the 61.8, line from the high of the year to the low. This was a 61.8. That's why we said August 15th, sell it. It's just a counter trend 2-month rally. That's over. I don't see us resuming back above that.
Especially what we're going to get into some of the fundamentals that have not shown up on this shore yet. They just haven't.
But you see this right here, 11.8, 11.6, 11.8. I mean, why wouldn't we trade here? We're just in this little junket right in here, just thick.
And again, too, I love this profile because everybody's an expert in something pricing, and what's cheap and what's expensive. And that's determined by where did it all trade recently? That's what gives you that knowledge base, because you've bought and sold a ton of something. And the profile does a great job of exposing that value area. It's basic. It is that simple, and everybody is an expert at something in their life. Maybe not at trading at times, but for sure in other things.
Well, but I think
got to bring that mindset to it.
I think this is why people need to stop day trading and stop thinking about the minutia of these little trades and get the bigger moves like this, because these set up nicely for most people. Like, you're not trading against yourself. Today's a perfect example of it too, by the way. If you're trying to day trade and this is your open, this was our open here today, right here, whoosh, and then rapid fire to a new high, like right away, and then in the same 30 minutes, and then whoosh. Unless you know what you're doing and have some, tendency to understand why this is happening, you got chopped today because you chased it down, you chased it up, and you got chopped. If you're chasing. Now, I like to fade, so today was a perfect day.
Fader's Paradise.
Right.
Is that on Spotify somewhere? Fader's
Yeah,
Paradise.
I mean, you buy 13.4 thinking that we're not going to go down yet unless we get below 1360. And then I was looking to sell, like I came in with these numbers, like I would have bought 4 off the open and I would have sold 5 off the open. I got both of them. So you make 100 up and then you sell it and you ride that thing down 200 points. And now we just came back to the middle, right? So it's a perfect market. And this market's going to get quiet here as we go into the weekend, although it's not very quiet. It's not.
No, it is not. And
So-
we got month end, month beginning. So you're going to have flows for sure. And all right, man, let's talk about hypocrisy, man. I like this was from the Babylon Bee. So this is
Not
Morikawa, no?
It's not the Babylon Bee, but it's the Babylon Bee of the PGA Tour. It's called the PGA TUOR Tour.
Oh, got it. Liv made offer, but I no likey. So I say fuck off. That's a terrible, terrible Japanese accent, by the way. Terrible. Me no likey offer, fuck off.
That was
That's
like Long Duck Dong, Korean.
Exactly. And by the way, that's not the world that we're supposed to be living in. That is racist to make fun of the way somebody speaks. And then Cam says, yes, I'm joining Liv. You know what they say, drive for show, putt for dough. I'm about to be putting for a fuck ton of dough now. Right? Honesty, right? And then you got Mr. Woke himself. No, we will not miss Cam one bit. We never really said this earlier, but he was as annoying as fuck. I'd rather listen to a top flight being hit than listen to that Aussie accent. Now that's not Babylon Bee. As far as I know, is that what he really said?
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. I'm telling you, that's what he said. It wouldn't surprise me.
No, dude, the PGA TUOR. If you want to follow at PGA TUOR, that's where it is.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I like the humor. I wish I had come up with the idea because we've been ribbing on this for how long? 6 months.
It's unreal.
So,
although he has said how upset he is and how he does it. The whole thing is such a giant, ironic, elite world. It just blows me away. And by the way, why does Top Flight get lambasted here? Is anybody playing Top Flight on tour? I mean, Titleist is number one ball on tour. Somebody's got to be. Somebody
who owns Top Flight anymore? I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to find that out, Matt. And
maybe they should be sponsoring.
I can't do a good Aussie accent. Otherwise, I would have done that as I did Cam.
I can't even do a good Midwest accent. So believe me, I get it.
More irony here from the Hodge twins. California recently ruled to
Spalding.
California recently ruled to ban gas-powered cars by 2035, but just put out a warning to avoid charging electric vehicles due to grid issues and blackouts. Ironic somewhat. And then I want to follow that up. Well, this is an update from Finland. Electricity suppliers are increasing their prices 10 to 12-fold for now. Small businesses are already collapsing, and households and large corporations are likely to follow in the coming months. Does this look like winning? And my question to you is, Matt, what does it cost at a 12-fold increase to charge your Tesla in Finland now? I mean, what is that?
Probably 10x what it would cost you to fill up your gas tank. I'm just saying.
It's to me like there's been a mad rush without much thought on the unintended consequences.
And will continue to be a mad rush of unintended consequences.
I don't know.
All
right, what else you got? I know it's hump day. I know there's a golf course beckoning me, and we could. Hey, you know what? You know what I wanted? Oh, this is what I wanted. Let me share.
You just got going and you're already wrapping it up.
Yeah, I know. Leave me alone. All right. Let me be me. How about I get to be me?
You do you, Bobby.
How about I get to be me? All right, let me share this. This is from Mr. Commodity. The CME Group has massive liquidity problem on their hands, which seasonally gets even worse as the year comes to a close. This negative feedback loop of outsized margins eviscerating liquidity, causing heightened volatility that just justifies outside margins, is a big problem. And he's sharing this from WeTrader. Look at these open interests. I mean, this one down here is 2022. I mean, if you can't see that this is the effect in real time, volatility makes margin higher makes people leave the market, leave participation, which makes liquidity higher. It's a giant feedback loop going on. That's KC wheat, and this is NYMEX crude oil, total open interest. It's off the chart on the low end. And the only thing that I don't know what to say about this other than it's almost self-fulfilling that we talked about crude yesterday, how insane these moves are. And if there's nobody able to establish a position because the margin requirement is such that you don't have the funds to do it, it's a real problem. And I don't know.
Yeah, because traditionally oil is a really cheap margin product, or at least it has been. I don't. What is the margin typically now for retail? I don't know about. It used to be like $1,000 a contract. Like you could get yourself in some serious hot water. But I know they have raised the margins recently. But
I mean, think about that. The full crude oil, a $10 move is 10 grand. No,
right, and you could control that with 1,000. So you could have $1,000. It used to be. I'm sure it's not anymore, but because the market didn't move $10 in a day like it does now. But at some point, I mean, here's what we're talking about. Let me just bring up that chart on crude because it's been absolutely insane. We talked about it last week when it went to 97, 98, and then whoosh, we said, oh, maybe that 85, 95 are breaking out. Oh, no, came back down here to 88. I nibbled this morning down here in the 88.50 area. And, again, I'll be taking some profits, $2 in profits on an oil trade. I'll take that any day. Intraday, but I don't know. This is still the same story. Looks like it's just building a base on the longer term chart. So nothing has really changed in my viewpoint. We're edging higher and lower. The lows are higher also. So not a good sign for those betting against the crude market. I don't think now is the time to bet against the crude market. I don't like the charts to bet against them, period. And I don't like this, the fundamentals that are out there. Marry those together along with this market profile, order flow, whatever you want to call your version of volume profile. It remains bullish really, unless we get under 70. So I don't know. It just doesn't look pretty, Bob. If you're fading the oil markets, if you're fading those energy markets.
No,
probably not a good move right now. Probably not.
What possibly coming down the pipe can make that different? I just don't see it.
World peace and cancer cure.
Yeah, well, we for sure need a change in energy policy starting in this country.
Mm-hmm.
We shared it, and I wish I had it available to share again, because I think the most ironic thing, we talked about irony today, most ironic thing that I've seen this year was the World Economic Forum A group, like the highest level, like everything's got a level, right?
Mm-hmm.
The highest level attendees, when we shared that earlier this year, over half of them are from the oil-rich Middle East. You want to talk about irony? Like, who benefits the most from all of these policies that are driving energy prices through the roof?
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't know. It's irony beyond words, as far as I'm concerned. Let me pull up for a second here the SPOO chart because I want to talk about somebody else talked or reached out inside marketvitals.io and talked about their momentum modeling. And again, this is the daily look. Like this is fully rolled over on a momentum modeling, fully rolled over, falling apart. Potential to the downside. Now we should have some flows tomorrow and Friday, right? As the month begins, but this is a terrible looking chart.
Mhm.
That's all I can say. And again, I said yesterday, and I will say it again, the 3-day 39.22. If they cannot hold this is the only positive chart, by the way, that I can find in the SWOOS on my fractaling is this 3-day. The weekly sideways, the monthly for sure, it looks terrible, especially if we close down here. 39.22, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. That is the line in the sand, and you got a similar level on the profile, but we're going to start a September to remember. I think if this thing rolls just like the daily has, and we get some downward potential on the standard deviation lines and the slope of these lines, I got to tell you, I've more people have been carried away by fading the slope of standard deviation lines than anything else. You know, I said it the other today also. It's the same thing. When you start fading breakouts on long-term profiles, you're waiting for trouble. You're asking for trouble. And it's the same. It's my same thought process here in the S&Ps.
So have you been following Michael Burry at all?
I know you shared something with him. I do, and
you should bring that up. Since you should bring it up. Since you're talking about
because I can't blow it up enough. I don't have that kind of skill set. Was that a tweet?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah, it was a tweet. Like, I mean, I sent you the here. I'll just send you the picture. Here, I'll do
or can hold on a second. At Michael Burry.
I'll share, my friend.
Why don't why don't you share?
He just posted this chart and said people keep asking me when we're going to crash, and you know, this is kind of like what you and I said. It's like, well, you know, this is the chart. When are we going to, or are we midstream? Or are we just at the beginning? Where are we in the you know, because we are off, you know, 4,800 down to whatever 36. Again, that 36 goes, I say 32. I don't know if we're going to get all the way to the COVID low on the index myself. Like I said this yesterday, something in me says 32 is going to hold. I think we'll go test that, and we're at 4. So you got another 20% maybe in it this fall, but I think there might be something coming. Whether it's a Trump indictment, whether it's something that the Democrats pull out of their ass, because you know they're going to be continuing to pull shit out of their ass during this, you know, midterm run, the next, you know, 2 months, right? You got 2 months basically to kick save or you know, make this thing really crash. I don't know if they can get it done. I don't know if they can get.
Well, what do you think about we've talked feedback loops, and we've talked several times about we haven't even seen bad data yet.
I agree, and because we haven't had the bad data yet. So maybe it doesn't come, Bob. That's my point. Maybe that things aren't that bad, and we make it through and we survive because of whatever else. I personally don't think this student loan thing even gets done. Right? They've already said, okay, you don't have to pay your student loans until January. So guess what? They can get this election done. If they fail, they'll go, you know, or if the Democrats don't win, which, you know, that sure doesn't look like they could, but if they don't win, how are they even going to, you know, whoever comes in is going to say no to this, right?
Right.
So
they get nothing. You know, you want to talk about 2 years of nothing being done.
Nothing's been done. Nothing but shit has been done. Like this
is nothing
worst.
Will be done for another 2 years. Either.
I know, but this is absolutely the worst presidency we've ever had in our history. It's the worst by far.
Don't tell Joe that. Joe doesn't even know he's president.
He doesn't even know he's president.
He doesn't even know.
Full on mental institution. So, I mean, he's talking about blowing up his own people with F-15s yesterday. What is wrong with this guy? I mean, talk about like your lowest level of emotional IQ. The guy just is like, he's always been this way. Can you imagine that guy? No, I mean, can you imagine that guy? Like he's your dad and this is what you got to hear all the time? Ugh.
Brutal. Matt, let's stick on this chart for a second too, because as a longtime commodity trader, when I look at that chart, it's really clear to me that it's right-sided, right? And then it's really clear to me that something has to change fundamentally for us not to retrace all those gains. And again, as a commodity trader, if this was, you know, corn or hogs, or I'm looking for this thing to, yeah, you're right, to go to those COVID lows. there's something has happened fundamentally if this was a commodity market. I think the charts are very, doesn't matter what it is. The chart's the chart, and my read is the same.
Yeah.
And I don't see what fundamentally can happen in the next several months that's gonna be positive.
I don't know, but again, I'd like to see a test of this level right here, 3,200 right here.
Yes, I agree.
Let's test that. That was where we were before COVID started. So let's at least test that. Let's see if that's legit. Let's see if that holds. Right? That's all I'm saying. Just like in any chart, we got to see if that holds before we can get here. So let's address this before we even talk about this. I'm not getting the horse out before the cart here, because we have to test this. So I do think we'll see this by the end of the year, 3,200. If we go lower, then we're going to go. If
again, back to the feedback loop. If unemployment starts to kick in, if the inflation cannot be corralled, if seriously, the electricity rates is the biggest thing, because there's no way.
At some point they have to stop this shenanigans. They're going to turn on coal. They're going to turn on gas. They're going to, at some point. So I don't think this stays forever up here, because there's no reason for it to be where it is, except they want it to be, which is effed up. Like, there's no reason except for politics and policy, both European and the US, right? They're in cahoots. Everybody else is looking at them going, you're nuts. Like, you have capacity, you have refineries, you have everything. You have nuclear, and you have coal. You don't need wind, sun, and these other things that are totally inefficient. Like, it's a waste.
Preach, Matt. Preach, Matt. All right. Speaking of preaching, the cross behind me, do you see the leopard or the lion?
No.
Hold on a second. Let me show it to you. Because now that it was pointed out to me, and now that I see it, I can't stop seeing it. Now, do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like the Pink Panther.
Da-dun, da-dun. All right. I'll do a lap on the beads. Why not? All right. We got college football kicking off this weekend.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about some of these games. I was looking at the lines. I don't know if you saw, but
can you bring them up, or are there any easily brought up?
Ohio State is heavily favored, right? The two big games, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State is heavily favored by 17 early on here. Okay. And the other one that we talked about, of course, national kickoff game is Oregon versus the Georgia Bulldogs. And by the way, they are 17-point dogs also. So not too exciting. Like, if you look at the lines makers, they're going, these two games are both going to be blowouts, both the Oregon State and the
Matt, in general, do you like betting favorites or dogs? I mean, just in general.
I mean, early in the season, I tend to say, like, the first couple weeks favorites, because they tend to be just like, strangely enough, I would take Michigan minus 31. I think they'll win by 45 or so, just because I think they want to show people that they want to impress, and they want to play both quarterbacks a lot. And we have two quarterbacks, and they're going to share time, and they're both outstanding. So we got a lot of weapons, and I think we need to disclose and show some of those this week to let people know that we're for real. So that's my bias there. But I also think, I would actually take favorites in all those games. I would take Georgia. I would take Ohio State. I would lay the points in this opening. I mean, Georgia's basically at home. It's at the Georgia Dome.
Right. Yeah,
Oregon was so bad last year. Like, you're going to have to prove it to me. So if they come out and play a tight game, then maybe they're back. But I expect them to lose by 28 or more. I mean, because they had no defense really last year. So there's no way they can. And they have Bo Nix, who was a washed up Auburn quarterback, as their quarterback. This is the best you have at Oregon, Bo Nix. He was the Auburn quarterback for 3 years, and he sucked. Okay. I'm
good. All right, bookie. My bookie.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would stay favorites early in the season. I think they seem like aggressive lines, but you don't really know, and you haven't seen these new players play. There's really nothing really jumping out that I'm like, oh yeah, I love that game. So I wouldn't bet big on any of these games. Florida Utah is interesting. Utah is favored. It's at Florida. That might be a good game to watch. Florida really wasn't that good last year. Utah was pretty good, but again, it's the Pac-12. I don't know. That's hard. I would probably take Utah again, given the points in that game. Just on paper, I think they're going to be better. I don't know.
And then what are we for the NFL? Another 2 weeks away?
Yeah, I think that's the 10th that starts. So
right on.
Hard Knocks, the final episode, I think, is next Tuesday. The 4th episode was last night. It was kind of a snoozer, I think, because they don't really know the cuts that they're going to make yet. That'll be the next show. Again, Louisville. I'm actually thinking about going to this game. Oregon State hosting Boise State on Saturday in Corvallis. I haven't been over there in a while, so might go check that one out. But not a lot of super exciting games via the spread this opening weekend. Michigan, like I said, 31. I think they'll.
How many games are there? How many games are there on that board?
A lot. I mean, you can see it a little bit easier here, but there's a lot of games. I kind of like Michigan State laying the 22 against your.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we bet $1 a game? I'll take all the dogs. You take all the favorites.
Which games?
All of them. Cover the board.
Well, so Michigan. So we'll go. I'll go Georgia, Michigan State, Michigan.
Yeah, you pick them all.
And Ohio State. I'll go those 4. Sure.
It's for our usual bet, like Duke and Duke.
Right. Duke and Duke. I'll do the 14 parlay. You pay me $100 if I get them all right.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Come on.
That is not happening.
Why not?
Hey, Lee, welcome to the show. We're just about done here. Lee, what's going on, man?
Lee's a late riser at 1 o'clock.
Late, man. He's been throttling it, right?
I'm actually interested to see how USC plays, with the new coach from Lincoln, from Oklahoma. That'll be interesting. See if they can get them back. Baylor's playing Albany. I mean, why is that even a game? You make fun of Michigan's, but Albany, give me a break. Albany, New York, they have a football team.
It was a flag team last year.
It's like Utah State and Alabama. I mean, but this,
Western Michigan beat Alabama once upon a time in the last 2 decades too.
No way.
Yes, not so long ago.
In field
hockey
happened. And field hockey.
Dominant field hockey team. Who's Minnesota got?
I don't think they play this week. I haven't seen it.
All right.
If they do, it must be playing like Mankato State or something like that.
Row the boat. Row the boat with PJ Fleck. All right, that's what we got. Lee, you missed the whole show. You're gonna have to watch it on rewind. Please visit us at marketvitals.io. That's where our community is. Please
By the way, I'm going to bring up Apple a little bit because I just want to talk about like the destruction that's happened here. Like people don't realize this thing went from 128 to 176 and it continues down here 158.
Not only that, Matt, everybody pay attention. That is a giant value range that is re-entering.
Just getting into it.
By Pete Stottlemyre's metric, if it spends time and volume, back in his day, it was just 2 consecutive brackets on the Board of Trade floor for an intraday chart.
Yeah.
But the metric it builds time and volume in there. It's got an 80% chance to fill 80% of that value range. It's a double perfect Galaga. We brought up the Galaga formation many times before, and that is perfect. That is a perfect Galaga. And what is 80% of that range? Let's just throw it out there right now.
Well, 160 to 135 is 25. So 80% is $20. So it takes you down to about 140. Somewhere in here, which is the lower left Galaga, the gun.
It is. It's the bottom gun of the Galaga. 140. You heard it here first. This is, 1 minute stock market analysis, price action via the profile. It is clean. It is crystal clean.
All you hope and prayer traders out there, this is not one you want to be buying. I'm sorry. It's just not. I mean, seriously, but this is the point. Like, it should take you 1 minute to go buy, sell, hold, or nothing. Buy, sell, nothing. Right? These are your 3 options. Which one would you favor, Bob?
Right now, I'm selling it, and then I'm out if it takes back out that high up there. You got a little red line. That's kind of a point of control or something there. I
Yeah.
can't really see what the
Yeah.
pricing
Yeah.
number is. Not quite that high. I wouldn't even risk that much. I don't think it should
I don't
retake out the
even- I
recent
don't-
high that it just fell from.
Yeah, I don't see it getting back to 165, but it's at 160 right now. It's just run out of buyers and everybody owns it. So who else is going to buy it after that move?
And then again, I mean, feedback loops are real, man. They're everywhere. Oh, Ruby, thank you. I got a dog snoring at my feet. Ruby
Airbnb,
Tuesday.
same thing. You know, are people going to be traveling this fall after the ramp up? You know, I think you got to look at this and then still Zoom is breaking 80 and Zillow is also, I just wanted to throw that one out because I think Zillow is going to like single digits. I really do.
Bring it up. Bring it up. Oh, I got one more.
I mean, it's just dragging along the bottom here, Bob, but I think it's going to single dig. 19 was the COVID low, 19 to 207, low of 28 here. We're at 33. Zoom, kind of the same thing. How can Zoom still a $24 billion market cap? This thing still could get cut in thirds and maybe be worth really what it's worth, which is about 10 billion, maybe. But that,
again,
this is ugly. I mean, there's nothing pretty about this chart to me. Well, here's what people argue. Well, as long as it holds 63, okay, we'll buy it at 63 then. Wait until it gets down there.
Yeah, and then what are you risking once you bought it at 63?
To 60.
My first thought of that is it's a big enough name that if your trading strategy is buy something and hope the Reddit bros pump it, it's not really a trading strategy.
I mean, seriously, the amount of bandwidth that people spend on meme stocks is just unbelievable to me. Like, you should just run, or you should learn how to short. I mean, learn how to short because the meme stocks are the best shorts ever. I mean, we've talked about it, but every time that, like, look, I got to show this again. Like, we said this last time it ran to 30. Bed Bath and Beyond, right? Look at this thing. It just did this week. It ran to $14. They did it again because everybody starts posting about short interest, and 190,000% short interest is out there. Okay, if you say so, that's fluid, right? That information is lagging. And guess what? So it gets a pump, 14 all the way back to 9. I mean, 50% like in a week. You can learn how to short. Every time it spikes, just sell it.
And there's ways to do it to protect yourself too.
There are.
You can sell the call spread.
Back spread yourself. Exactly. But put it on every time. You're going to get paid. Sell the stock, buy the calls against. It's free. It's easy. It's cheap. It's cheap insurance.
Right on. All right, bingo.
Over, rinse and repeat. I mean, look at how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in the last year and a half. 10 times. That's one a month. And we've had 2 in a month. We went from 30 to $8 and then 15 back to 9 here. I mean, it's just a gift. Every day. I'll sell it every day.
The best was the completion of that profile when the first time up. Yeah.
This one?
No, the one to the right of that.
This one, just recently.
Yeah. Just recently.
That was August 17th, the most ridiculous one. Again, those that bought it at 4, congratulations. You won the lottery, I guess. It's not, again, that hope and prayer buying that shit down there when this thing is going to zero. I mean, even at this price, it's worth $750 million. The market knows it's going to zero. It is dead. This is a dead man walking company, period.
Even Will Ferrell can't save it. Will Ferrell.
All right, Matt. All this thing does is streak.
We're streaking the quad. That's what we got. Matt, thank you. Thank you so much. AS, thank you. Lee, thank you. Please join us, marketfellas.io. Peace out, Matt. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Peace out. Bye.